during the Civil Rights era. In the 1950s, blacks began to demand an end to the Jim Crow laws in the South that legally supported racial discrimination. Seeing the civil rights movement as a threat to white rule, the Klan went on the attack. Between 1955 and 1965, Klansmen or Klan sympathizers carried out over 200 bombings and murdered 40 civil rights workers. Brutal images of Klan violence turned public opinion against the KKK. By the end of the 1960s, the FBI was successfully infiltrating the Klan, and its leaders were being prosecuted. It seemed the Klan had been defeated. Klan membership declined from nearly 40,000 in 1961 to a low of 1,500 in 1973. But over their long history, the Ku Klux Klan has always managed to rebuild.
In the end, ladies and gentlemen, these homosexuals, race mixers, Jews, they will all be the fertilizer in the land.
417-238-9996. Now, wasn't that an interesting video? And after a commercial break, we will be talking about an event that touched most everyone's life in today's society: the anthrax scare and the 9/11 attacks.
We'll be right back.
Are you sick of paying high gas prices at the pump? Do you need a change in the routine? Do you need exercise? If the answer to all these questions is yes, then come down here to Jay's Bikes, Tracks, and More. Here, not only do we have the fastest bikes, but we have the gotta-have scooter and the best roller skaters. Not only do you have to save an arm and a leg for gas prices, but you also do other stuff like you go home, work, and run away from the neighborhood bullies. Come back here! While they are chasing after you on foot, now you'll have a bike or a trike, and you can just run right past them. And you get a great job walking the neighborhood fence. While you're around on the bike, the dogs and anything else will chase after you and have their evening jog. The neighbors will love you.
Have you trouble sleeping? After running around all day with doing something, you will be out like a light switch whenever you hit the bed.
So come by today to Jay's Bikes, Tracks, and More to have a new way of transportation.
A fallout shelter you can build yourself is open for public inspection in Thomasville, Georgia. This above-surface model was designed for areas where rocks or water make underground construction impractical. It should have supplies to feed 6 persons for 2 weeks. A civil defense pamphlet, The Family Fallout Shelter, contains plans and construction details for this and other types of shelters. An easily operated air blower adds comfort. To be sure the vents and traps are working properly, there's a Geiger counter to check radioactivity. A second model in Wheaton, Maryland, is designed for the basement of a house. Both were built by the government as part of a plan to build 100 family shelters in communities across the country for test and demonstration purposes. It's a program aimed at your safety.
Welcome back to this special edition of 30 Minutes.
Yes, and now we will be talking with Abby Dayton on the report of the anthrax scare. Abby?
Thanks, guys. And as we all know, in 2001 there was a huge anthrax scare. It resulted in 5 deaths and 10,000 postal workers who were suspected to have been exposed. They received a 2-month dose of antibiotics, but not all was by choice. This is said to be because of confusion and distrust, and many feared that they were being worked on as guinea pigs. Now, what exactly is anthrax? Anthrax is an infectious disease caused by spore-forming bacterium called Bacillus anthracus. Not common in humans, anthrax mostly occurs in animals such as cattle, goats, sheep, and other herbivores. It can, however, occur in humans when they're exposed to infected animals or in tissue from an infected animal. So it can either be being caused by skin, inhalation, or through the intestinal. What was common in 2001 was a powdery white substance would be put into an envelope and mailed to head officials. But it can also be spread by undercooked meat from an infected animal. Via satellite, we have Dr. Turek from the Health and Research Department at a remote location. So Dr. Turek, what are the symptoms of anthrax?
Well, there are different symptoms depending on how the disease was contracted. If it was contracted by the skin, either by the spore entering a cut or abrasion, the skin infection begins as a raised itchy bump, like a mosquito bite. But within 1 to 2 days, it develops into a painless ulcer with a black area in the center. Initial symptoms of anthrax when inhaling the disease mostly resembles the common cold, but after several days, severe breathing problems and shock may occur. The intestinal form of anthrax may follow the consumption of contaminated meat. The initial signs including nausea, loss of appetite, vomiting, fever, followed by abdominal pain, vomiting blood, and severe diarrhea. Symptoms may also include lesions and soreness in the throat.
So can anthrax be spread person to person?
People-to-people transmission is extremely unlikely and has only been reported on the skin with on-the-skin anthrax, where discharges from the skin lesions are potentially infectious.
Is there a way to prevent infection?
Actually, yes. In countries where anthrax is common and vaccination levels of animal herds are low, humans should try to avoid contact with livestock and animal products, and avoid eating meat that has not been properly slaughtered and cooked. But we all know in those countries that don't have a high vaccination level usually are the countries that work more with the animals and it is their jobs.
Speaking of the vaccination, what exactly is the vaccine?
Well, it is manufactured and distributed by Bryant Corporation and is a cell-free filtration vaccine. The final product contains no more than 2.4 milligrams of aluminum hydroxide serving as to help, and people who work directly with the organism in a laboratory who work with imported animal hides or furs should get vaccinated, along with people who handle potentially infected animal products and military personnel deployed in areas with high risk of exposure to the organism.
So how is anthrax diagnosed and what is the treatment?
The bacteria can be cultured from the blood, skin lesions, fluid from the lungs or respiratory secretions, spinal fluid, or other affected tissues prior to the start of antibiotic treatment. The main treatment for anthrax is antibiotics prescribed by doctors. This should be initiated as early as possible, and without treatment, then the disease could be fatal.
Yes.
Go.
There's one way of life you can choose, the life of a loving son, working hard to get into a good college to make something of themselves. But what if you could do something to help your friends and family? The United States Army, the best of both worlds. Right now there are thousands of people fighting for this country and for your protection. Join today to help your fellow family members and friends and neighbors in the fight to end war on terror.
I need you to step back across that line.
Oh, really? And what are you going to do about it, Israel? Make me?
Maybe, but I don't want to do the unnecessary, so I'm going to ask you nicely one more time. I need you to step back across that line, please, alright?
Ooh, I'm not afraid of you.
Guys, I need some assistance over here.
Hey, Israel, this guy giving you trouble?
Trouble? Nah, that ain't no trouble.
No trouble. I just thought you might like to enjoy the show.
What? What show? Oh.
Nice punch.
Yeah, way to go.